AJ?
Once again, great match tonight. And how was your time training with Harley Race?
There's hope for you.
I thankfully I never actually trained with Harley. He would just book me on his shows, and he would throw up in my car, and I would ride on his boat. And the most horrible thing that would happen is he would just drive the boat, and every time he said beer, I had to hand him a beer, and I was always like, maybe you shouldn't be driving the boat or anything. But just being in his house, it's weird, right? Do you ever get hit with a stun gun? No? I don't recommend it. Shut your whole body off. I thought I pissed myself, but he hit me in the butt with it. It's not fun. But that's kind of cool, right? You know, because Harley Race liked me enough to zap me with a stun gun. You know, I think that's pretty neat. But I did learn a lot from him. He refereed a bunch of my matches. There was one particular match, I think every time I got taken over in a headlock takeover, he would bend down and he would check on me. He'd be like, "What do you say?" And he would stick both his fingers up my nostrils, and it was awful because he had gigantic hands. He would just jam his middle finger and his pointer finger like in my nose, and it sucked. But I, you know, just being around him, I learned a ton from him. He was a pretty hard trainer, so thankfully I never had to roll around and take bumps. But just being on his shows, he was the man. This is peeling back the curtain. I'm not supposed to say words like this, but he's the guy who taught me how to make a blade, and I think he would be pretty goddamn proud of me right now. This poor guy looks so worried. Let's get him out of the way. Yeah, you got it. Thanks. Wearing his blazer. It's hot as fucking here. This poor guy's been.
Thank you so much, Punk. Spencer Valdez, NSM Today at UCF. You've previously gone on record mentioning professional wrestling as one of the great original American art forms, along with comic books and jazz music. And I noted during your match, and as well as Danielson versus Moxley tonight, that there is something delightful akin to jazz music in watching two competitors figure it out in the ring with their psychology. What are some correlations that you can make between professional wrestling and jazz?
Great question. Well, you know, my deep jazz background. You could have said comic books, and I could have spun that yarn.
Comics works too.
I mean, good and evil. You know, it's bad guys versus good guys. Comic books is pro wrestling. You know, larger than life characters, but also characters people can identify with. You know, some people love the Incredible Hulk. Nobody here knows anybody that's the Incredible Hulk, but everybody here knows somebody who's Peter Parker, everyday kid. Got a big secret, you know, great power comes great responsibility. Just, you know, stuff like that. I think a lot of the times we are larger than life characters, but then you get a guy like me who's, you know, pretty much not, you know. There's a quote in that Esquire piece from me. I think it was from a young lady named Lindsay Kelk. And she said that, you know, you knew when The Undertaker was done, he was changing out of his gear, and he was getting in a car, and he was driving home or whatever. And you can't really picture that guy in the top hat, you know, driving a car or whatever. But CM Punk was, you know, I'm one of you, and when I win, you win. Because chances are you know a dude like me. I wear fucking sneakers for too long until, you know, my back starts to hurt because I've worn out the soles, and I have one pair of jeans, and I wear a hoodie, and I love my dog and my wife. You know what I mean? I wear my heart on my sleeve, and honest to a fault. And so I think a lot of times kids can watch that and see that, and it's just like sometimes picking up a comic book and reading a comic book and seeing a kid like Peter Parker who's just like, he goes to high school, he lives with his Aunt May, you know, just stuff that can humanize people. So I think that's how those two things are similar. And jazz jazz and pro wrestling, you got me and you got Brian right now, and you told us to go in the ring and wrestle for 30 minutes, we'd be like, yeah, fine. We got to talk about shit just like a good jazz musician. You can get up on stage, never meet the bass player, doesn't know who's playing drums behind him, and can just do whatever. Go.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate everybody. Thank you for doing what you guys do, and thanks for coming to the show.
I'm sick of crying.